vacation. We have Andrew Heyman and Deborah Woodard, our alternate, who is sitting as a full member tonight and will be voting on all the applications. I'm Peter Amuso, the township solicitor, or the zoning hearing board solicitor. Before we start, I just want to make a note that this will likely be our last Zoom meeting. There are the legislature, in its typically opaque way, kind of went back and forth and trying to figure out what to do with the governor's emergency orders after the people of Pennsylvania amended our constitution to allow them to end those emergency orders unilaterally. They did so in a way that seemed to extend all the COVID-related protocols through the end of September, but there's some question about whether that extends to our ability to meet virtually. So while we already advertised this virtually and it was too late to change that advertisement, and that is fine, and there's been some guidance that that's okay, we'll likely commence our meetings in person. I believe it looks like our next meeting won't be until August, and we will meet in person in August, although that's, I guess, subject to some, whatever else is going to come out of Harrisburg, but that looks like the direction we're going. So, Madam Secretary, with your permission, then we will start with our first application tonight. I want to also make a note that the application 6-2 of 21, they asked for a continuance, and I believe that's been continued now until August. That was granted. All right, so our first application on the docket tonight is application 6-3 of 21. This is the application of Ashford B. Sony for a variance from section 550-42B to allow property to be used as a daycare with more than 5 children, and a variance from section 55-33, table 8.1, to forego off-street parking, parent drop-off, and a passenger loading space. And this property is located at 7151 Stockley Road in Upper Darby. And for zoning purposes, this is the R3 residential district, and it sits in our 6th council district. So is Mr. Sony here? Let me see. Are you Mr. Sony? Mr. Singh? Sir, you have your hand raised. Mr. Singh? And we have somebody else. Okay. Jesus. Ms. Dunbar, Mr. Dunbar.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes. Are you the applicant for 6-3 of 21?
Yes, sir. For 7151.
Okay, great. And is Davinder Singh related to your application?
Say that again.
Is somebody named Davinder Singh related to your application?
No, sir.
All right. So, Mr. Singh, I'm going to. Can we get some help downgrading him back to a participant until a future application? I only have an option to remove Mr. Singh. I don't want to remove him. Ms. Moeller, can you reduce him to a participant?
I changed it so he is a participant.
Okay, great. All right, so Ms. Dunbar, well, first, Madam Secretary, I'll mark as Exhibit 1, ZHB Exhibit 1, the application. ZHB Exhibit 2, the notice of publication, and ZHB Exhibit 3, the signs posting the property. So, Ms. Dunbar, can you turn on your video, please?
I'm trying to, all right. I'm not very good with computers, so I'm trying to look for the video.
Sure, I don't know, if you right click something usually,
Right click.
or you know what, on the left corner, you see a mute button and a stop or start video button. If you hit the start video button, that might work.
What am I doing?
If you pull your cursor down towards the bottom of the screen, a bar pops up.
All right, I see now. Start video. Okay. All right.
Well, hi, ma'am. So, ma'am, you represented by an attorney?
No, sir.
That's fine. So, Tom, could you swear in Ms. Dunbar?
Yes, Ms. Dunbar. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay,
I do.
And is your last name D-U-M as in Mary, B-A-R? It's not Dunbar, it's Dunbar.
Dunbar, yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
So, Ms. Dunbar, I guess I'm just confused. Who is Ashford B. Sony?
Ashford is here. He's my husband.
Oh, okay. Is he
I
there?
go by my maiden name. I
Oh,
never
that's-
changed my name.
Totally fine. Is your husband there?
Yes, sir. You want me to get him?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, because
I will. Never mind. Hold on. Baby, they need you.
since Mr. Sony's seems to be the applicant here, and at least want to get on the record that he gives permission for this application.
Right.
It's coming, sir.
Okay. It's just the application is in his name.
Okay, it's coming. Baby?
Hello,
Hi, Mr. Sony. How are you? I'm Peter
All right.
Amuso. I'm the solicitor of the zoning hearing board. You put an application in your name. We're here having a hearing on it. So could we swear in Mr. Sony, please?
Hey, no, Mr. Sony. Sony, do you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
yes,
Do you swear to tell the truth, sir? Yes.
yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I-
Yep. Great. So, Mr. Sony, you submitted an application for, do you own 7151 Stockley Road?
Correct.
Okay. I'm sorry, Ms. Dunbar, do you own it as well? Do you own it together, the property?
His name. Is
That's
that
fine.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's our
yes, we do.
property, yes.
Well, okay. So, Mr. Sony, do you give your wife permission to submit this application?
Yes, sir.
All right, as the property owner, it's something that's required under the zoning
Yeah.
law. I mean,
That's-
okay. All right. So, Ms. Dunbar, what do you want with the property? Why are you filing a zoning application?
For a daycare for more than 5 kids.
Okay.
And also a drop off and a pick up for our family members.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, Mr. Chass, remind me, you can have a daycare in this residential zone in your house, but if you have to have 4 or fewer children that you watch?
So yeah, it's 5 or fewer.
5 or fewer, okay.
5 or fewer, and the request is for over 5. And usually also those don't have parking requirements as well because it's meant for neighborhood and home. But because it's over 5, it actually changes the definition to a daycare center, which is very specifically says, a daycare of more than 5 children. And that has associated parking.
Right.
And
So,
that's kind of how we got to where we are.
right, and I appreciate, as always, your helpful explanation. Right, so the issue is you're asking this zoning hearing board, A, to allow you to watch more than 5 children in your home, but then also you don't want to have to comply with all the parking requirements. Can you explain to us So there were, under the zoning code, you need to show a hardship, it's called. So what's, in particular, what's the hardship? Why can't you meet the parking requirements for a daycare center?
Can you say that again? Because,
Yeah, I
why,
can answer that.
go ahead.
Well, the reason for that, because we are in a location where there are several other buildings that adjacent where we are and roads. So at the back, we don't have no space to make parking space. But we make enough space within the building for the kids. Even the patio and everything is made pretty well for the kids. But right now, we don't have a parking space because of the location.
And the limited space to provide a
Yeah.
parking space of the,
Mhm.
to the property.
We're pretty a good location for the community.
Mr. Chess, I hate to, I mean, if Ms. Dunbar wanted to watch 5 or fewer kids,
Mhm.
can she just do that in her house? Does she need any relief from us?
Correct. That's a permitted use and wouldn't have the same parking requirements.
So, ma'am, tell us a little bit why it's a hardship for you to only watch 5 children in your house.
It's not an issue for me to watch 5 children because I have to have other people to come in there to help me and watch those kids, because we're trying to do it from a family to like a group centered daycare where it could be more than 5 kids. And also I'm gonna have other people coming in to help me supervise those kids.
How many children, if we were to grant this variance, how many children do you plan on having at your home?
Maybe about 10 or between 10 and 12.
And how many additional caregivers do you plan on having? hiring?
About 4,
4 or 5.
So,
including me, with me making 5.
sure. So look, I think the zoning hearing board is going to be concerned here because it seems like a lot of people in this house and just no parking. And I think we all know that, you know, the number 1, 2, and 3 issue in Upper Darby is parking. And there's a reason that the township has laid out in its code that if you're going to run a daycare center, you need parking. I mean, how are the parents going to get the children to your home?
That's why I try to apply for a parking, for a drop off for them and a pickup location in front of the house.
Okay, what do you mean you applied for that?
I think it should be on the application that I applied for a pickup location. A drop off location, I think I applied, it should be on the application that I sent in.
You mean you applied for a waiver from it?
I'm not too sure, I don't have a copy in front of me.
You don't have a copy?
No, I mistakenly dropped everything, I didn't make a copy of it.
Okay. Well, what you wrote was to forego off-street parking and parent drop-off and parent loading space. So the way that reads is that your reading, Mr. Chass, that the applicant is seeking a waiver of all 3 requirements? Or is it that the applicant wants to substitute the parking requirements for a drop-off?
My initial interpretation was, yeah, the applicant for all 3 of those. I don't know where there would be a drop-off area. So it would only really make sense to ask for all 3.
Right. So it's required. All 3 are required, right?
They would, yeah, all 3 would be required with the definition of a daycare center.
Sure. Once you hit 6 kids, now you have to have parking. Now you have to have a drop off, and now you have to have a loading area. Correct.
Yes.
So I guess again, Ms. Dunbar, the concern is where are you going to have this drop off area? I mean, you're saying, I don't know, it just seems very unsafe. And so maybe you could just explain to the board how you think it might be safe.
I was thinking of at the back, because you have a driveway that you have a parking at the back where, because there's a door at the back, I can talk to the parents where they can pick up their kids from the back. That could be a pickup place from the back because it used to be a garage that turned into a room down there. It could be a pickup from the back. Then in the front, we can do put a sign there for drop off.
And for pickup.
We can put a sign there for drop off, and we still can use that too as a loading area. So we can put a sign there for them where they can drop off the kids because of the area.
Mr. Chess, what's the definition of a drop off and loading? I mean, is
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Daddy, I'm here.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, is
let
it-
me take a look.
Mhm.
Give me a- I'm not.
Yeah. I mean, you can't just put up a sign that says this is now a drop off.
Okay.
And it is, right, Josh? You have to go,
No, and I also have a concern that the street there is incredibly narrow.
yeah, yeah.
You know, on both sides, and it's a one-way. So it's not really conducive to
Mhm.
parking. Maybe the alleyway in the back, but that's common driveway.
Mhm.
So, I mean, yeah, it
It's
doesn't
also,
really make
is that also where the trash gets picked up and
correct.
the recycling? So in the summer, that's 3 days a week, and the 3 mornings a week where there would be trash trucks in that area.
About around that time, the kids will have already been dropped off because there's going to be a drop off time and a pickup time. By then, I'm going to let the parents know that it's by 9 o'clock, all the kids should be inside. There's no drop after 9 o'clock. No, but we're not going to receive any more kids. So then that area will be clear for any trash pickup or anything like that.
Can I ask 2 more things?
Please. Ms.
Sure.
Wilson.
Josh,
Yeah.
if there's going to be 5 employees, does that increase the number of parking spots needed?
Not necessarily. Our parking is based on square footage. So let me read the definition really
Okay.
quickly for a daycare center. It's 1 space per 250 square feet of floor area plus 1 dedicated passenger loading space per 600 square feet of floor area. So if it's over 600, you technically even need a second dedicated space plus 1 space per every 250.
The other question I have is you said that this is for a group. What is the group and why do they all have to, I mean, is it a group that has to stay together?
No, you have different types of daycare. You have the family daycare that has 5 kids or less. You have the group that is about 6 to 10, and you have a center. A center is where you have a big area, but a group is a group of kids that is between 10 to 12 that in different rooms. They are not grouped together. They separate into different rooms. Like I have a 2-room upstairs. I have the living room. I have a dining room. You have to rearrange it to meet their needs. You have the basement. There's an exit way to the basement. You have the living room that you can set up. Like let's say I have 2 toddlers or I have 3 toddlers. They'll be in the living room. You have the other one would be in the dining room. Then you have the basement where if I have like after school kids, maybe my 2 or 3 after school kids, they'll be downstairs. And like if I have 2 or 3 babies, will be upstairs. So that's how you're going to separate them. They're not going to be grouped together. It's just the name that is given to them, to that particular setting that I want to do.
Right.
I wanted to say something about parking.
Any other board members have questions for the applicant? Ms. Woodard or Mr. Heyman?
Yeah, I just like to say, I need to understand around the parking. I heard you say that you would designate and let the parents know that they couldn't drop off after 9 a.m.
Yes, ma'am.
Say summertime 3 times a week. But I don't know, what time does the trash or recycle people come? I thought they were early morning drop-offs or pickups. And then I'm thinking your drop-offs would be early morning as well. I'm just a little concerned about the timing and how can you determine if there's what time they will come? Because sometimes they might be backed up.
Sometimes they don't have a specific time for a pickup, a trash pickup, because sometimes we'll have trash there for a while. They don't come in the morning or in the afternoon before they come. So usually it varies the time that they come to pick up their trash, the trash pickup.
But the average time is 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock a.m.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, who was saying that? I didn't.
That's
that-
Ashford.
That's me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ashley.
Yeah.
Okay.
The average
That's
time between Upper Darby, Lansdowne, and Alden is usually at 11. And that's my observation.
Thank you.
You're-
I mean, is that safe? A safe assumption to make it around averages? I'm in Upper Darby. My average time is not 11. So that's why I was just concerned about traffic for pickup, drop off of children, family, loading, and trash removal. I'm a little concerned about that traffic wise for safety reasons.
Okay, for the particular area, all trash are at the back. You know, so it's all trash pickup is at the back audit of the building.
Yeah, but you're saying that you're going to use that as the drop off and pickup.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I see.
And if that be the case, then I might be applying to see maybe get a drop off in the front, get a parking spot in the front in the front of the building. I don't know if that would be advice. That would be something that I can apply for, to get a parking spot in front of the building. Because since over there might not be too much traffic, and the trash pickup is going to be at the back.
So what if you have multiple parents dropping off at the same time and I think you're saying you'll get the parking in the front. What if you have multiple parents dropping off same time?
There's always across the street, there's a mechanic shop there where they don't open till like
Yes.
11 o'clock. So I'm gonna have to talk to them and see if I can use where they can park and they can bring their kids over, because if there's heavy traffic. But again, with the amount of kids that we're going to have, I don't think it would be that much traffic.
Well, one of the things that you also need to know, this particular area is only one way. So you don't have too many traffic in that area. So once you come around and you come on Stockley, there's only one way. So you're going to drop the kid off. There's not going to be another car passing back and forth. You're just going to drop the kids off and then move your car, because she's going to have someone to pick the kids up right at the front and then bring them in. And then that parent's going to move. And then we pick up the other car that is coming. The other car can come through, because the way the neighborhood has been made, the way the roads have been made, just one way. So when you come and drop the key and move your car, and another parent come and drop the key and move their car, that could be the only safe way that we could do it.
And you're having the parents and the children travel between parked cars?
No,
No.
they stop in front of the house, they park,
In front
there'll
of
be
the
in front of the building, they park, there'll be somebody there to welcome the kids, to pick them up and take them inside, and they move the car to avoid traffic. They
But
don't,
you don't have any guarantee that there'll be a parking spot there, though.
Well, I think every building, every resident have a parking spot. We have a parking spot right in front of the building.
It's not yours. It doesn't belong to you.
Okay,
It's a public parking spot.
but could we ask for permit to just have that for the kids?
That's not our area of expertise.
All right. Any other board members have any more questions for this applicant?
Mm-mm.
All right. Any members of the public have any, would like to speak either in favor or in opposition to this application? Just raise your hand electronically. All right. Oh, Councilwoman Wentz, there you are. Good evening, Councilwoman Wentz. Thank you for being here. Wait for her audio to come online. Councilwoman Wentz, are you there? Councilwoman Wentz, we can't hear you. Not sure why not, but There you go. We can see you now. We can't hear you. Getting close though. Yeah, we can't hear you. Oh, there you go. Who's that? Is that you?
No, I said we can't hear anything.
Oh,
No, we
sure.
can't
No,
either.
I'm aware. So I'm sure she'll work it out and then we can hear what she has to say.
Okay.
I know, Liza, if you can help the councilwoman or not.
Yeah, she is not muted on our end. I sent her a message
Okay.
to let her know that sound isn't coming through.
Okay.
She's gone. Maybe she,
No, I think she's looking for, a better spot,
mm,
closer to wherever her Wi-Fi is or.
Maybe rejoin the meeting? Even
Yeah, you
rejoin?
want to try that, Councilwoman? Maybe you get out and rejoin. We'll wait for you. Certainly, obviously, and doesn't see anybody else who wants to make public comment on this application. So. We'll wait for her to come back. Again, likely the last time we'll have to deal with all this.
You told me about the side of the building, going up right there.
There we go.
Yeah, she will.
It says connected to audio.
I think she's
Nothing.
on.
Maybe you could call in. Okay.
Peter, are we checking to see if we have any other public comments?
We have, and no one else's hands are raised, so that's why I have not moved on to anybody else. Do you want me to
Yeah, I
ask someone else?
I understand there may be technical issues for Council President Wentz, and I understand that, but at what point should we move forward with this application?
I mean, look, it's certainly up to the board. I mean, she's indicated she wanted to say something, but I mean, we can.
She's just having some technical difficulties.
Yeah. Anybody else want to make public comment? I don't see anything. All right. Well, certainly, I mean, let me see. Let's give it one more shot here.
there she is.
Okay.
Say something. There you go.
Can you guys hear me? I think.
Yes.
Yes,
Go ahead.
yes.
I can't hear you.
Okay, we can hear you, so go ahead. Just you can say something.
Can't hear you guys.
It's all right.
We can hear you. Not that yelling at you is going to help.
Just tell us what you think. Let me see.
Okay.
Eliza, can you just message the council president and just ask her just to go ahead and just speak?
Will do.
It's just comment, so whatever comment she has to make, we can hear. Wow, Councilwoman Wentz is now co-hosting, so.
Just temporarily to,
No, I get it.
you
I
would
get it.
help. Laura, are you there?
Laura Wentz.
Hi, we can hear you.
You can. I can't hear you.
Fine, go ahead, just speak.
We changed the default on my computer for the meeting last night and I couldn't, so now I can't hear you guys. But you can hear me.
If you could just make your statement,
Okay,
then.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, so
All right.
my concerns were, one was the basement finished, because they mentioned having kids in the basement. I do share your concerns on the parking, a single spot in front of the house for if there's parking on both sides of the street of a one-way street is not sufficient amount of space for a pickup and drop off scenario. I share your concerns on the safety of the kids and the traffic it would cause. And I'm concerned about I'm not exactly sure how the math worked out on the number of parking spots that would be required, but I'm concerned about the number of people that actually have to work there to have the flow of, helping the kids get into the house. So those were my concerns. So I did share a lot of your concerns. So
Great.
that's my statement.
Okay. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
There's no further comment. Madam Secretary, I believe the application is ripe to be voted on if you wish.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to deny the application. Does it have a second?
I'll make a second.
Okay, all in favor of denying the application, say aye.
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 Deborah, or you're muted. What are you doing?
He said, I
Hi,
can
I'm
tell.
sorry.
Great. All right, so Ms. Dunbar, Ms. Sony, the application has been denied. You'll get a notice in the mail tomorrow and then a detailed opinion from the board that you can appeal within 30 days of receipt to the Delaware County Court of Common Pleas. So up next, Madam Secretary, we have application 6-4 of 21, which is the application of Ryan McMahon, which I will promote to panelists now. Mr. McMahon wants relief from section 550.33.b, subsection 5, which prohibits parking in the front yard of residential zoning districts to allow instead a 10 by 30 foot expansion of an existing non-conforming front yard parking area. This is at 804 Clarendon Road in Drexel Hill, which is for zoning purposes, an R2 residential district. And it sits in the first council district of Upper Darby Township. Mr. McCann, welcome.
Good evening. Thank you.
Hi. Do you have an attorney?
No, I don't have an attorney.
Fine. So, Mr. Cochran, if you could swear in Mr. McCann.
Sir, okay, Ryan. Do you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, thanks.
And Ms. Wilson, I will mark as zoning exhibit, ZHB exhibit 1, the application, ZHB exhibit 2, the proof of publication, and ZHB exhibit 3, the proof of posting. So, Mr. McCann, what do you need from the zoning hearing board?
So we have a confluence of a few unique situations here. So ever since we moved into this property, parking hasn't been terrible on the street, but it's been hit or miss as far as how crowded the street can be. And the main reason for that is because the south corner properties on both sides of the street of this location were subdivided some time ago, probably before there were multiple drivers in a house. So those lots got cut in half, and there were houses built facing State Road, which is a major highway. And that was developed with the proper parking in mind, as they have large wraparound driveways. However, that was at the expense of having any usable rear yard area. So what kind of happens is that those rear parking areas naturally turned into kind of just a concrete rear yard. So neither of those houses use the parking that was originally intended for them, which is understandable. Everybody wants to have space at their property where they can kind of hang out outside. So those cars usually use the end of Clarendon, the south end of Clarendon, to park their vehicles. And with COVID, it's kind of exacerbated the situation. You have like changing family dynamics, and you have changing work dynamics. So not only have families consolidated back with each other and are living in large groups, which is awesome. That's probably a good thing for the community. But people are also not leaving as much and using their cars because they've been able to work from remote from home, which again is probably a very cool thing going forward in the future. You can spend more time with your family and have, during little breaks from work, you can spend with your family. So that's great. But it's almost become like a dangerous situation now, where we have parking from stop sign to stop sign. And it's 50-50 whether or not you're going to get in a head-on collision as you turn off State Road at this point. And I'm not here to throw stones, and some people have called the police about this situation. But we're looking to kind of relieve that situation a little bit by taking one of our cars off the street, by expanding our non-conforming front yard parking space, while also keeping the green space we have in the rear of our house, which is another kind of, rarity in Upper Darby. I mean, I heard somebody earlier mention that parking is an issue everywhere, and lack of green space is also, I think, kind of an issue in a lot of the township as well. So we'd like to keep that green space, only modify the apron as little as possible to keep, as much on-street parking as possible, and also take one of our cars off the street with that expanded front yard parking space is kind of the gist of what we're proposing here.
Okay. Are there questions from the board members?
You have a garage, right? So you don't.
So no, a lot of the garages around here were built with the idea, I don't know what they would have fit, but they were very narrow. So most of them have been either converted or they're just used for storage, because you can't fit any decent sized car in most of these garages. I don't know of anyone on the street that even still has a garage that actually uses it to park a car, just because of the size of modern vehicles and just getting in and out of the driveway. It's a stacked situation. So if you park in that garage and you use your front yard parking space behind that, it's kind of a tic-tac-toe nightmare, especially with the size of everything.
How much of a buffer are you going to be leaving between your neighbor's property and where this parking spot will be?
So in looking to, ask for the least amount of relief, we want to leave the required 2-foot buffer that's required in the zoning code for such driveways.
Okay. And have you talked to your neighbor at all?
Absolutely. He had actually mentioned the same thing about how parking was kind of a nightmare. And it was vacant for a while, and he moved in, I guess, like 6 months ago. And as soon as he moved in, we started discussing things like that. And we let him know that we were eventually looking to expand that driveway, but we'd have to get a zoning variance to do so. He didn't seem concerned at all.
I have nothing else.
Ms. Woodard, do you have any questions?
Yeah. Let me just go back. I was just looking at the aerial view, and so I guess when I look at you said just alter the apron a little bit. So
as little as possible, yes.
Okay. And so I guess I'm just I looked at your sketch, and So how much of the grass would be taken away? I guess the car would go the opposite direction of the current driveway, like,
So here's the weird thing about the current way the zoning code was written. There is no impervious requirement. So if you see on the drawing, there's the green space, which is the expansion we're asking for, and then there's the red space. And in order to comply with the zoning code, by going down that side yard, taking up all that grass, and turning into the rear and taking up all the grass, all that grass, we'd be taking up about 50% of the property in impervious, which is permissible under the current code. We'd rather not do that, but it's an option for us. But again, I'd love to keep as much green space as possible, and I think this variance would allow us to do that.
now how does that impact the tree that's there in the center, or would it?
That's
not?
the opposite side, so that would not
Okay.
be impacted.
Okay.
Both trees would be on. And the expansion area allowed by the current code would actually be even more significant than that, but that's not, we wouldn't need to do more than that. But it's, again, that's the less ideal option.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Heyman, do you have any questions? Okay. Any member of the public here to speak in support or in opposition to this application? Anybody want to make a comment? Doesn't look like it. Going once, going twice. All right, so let the record reflect that no one wished to make public comment either in support or in opposition to this application. Is there a motion anyone would like to make?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the application. Can I get a second?
I'll second that. Ms. Woodard could second this one. I got the last one.
Okay. Is there any discussion, or should we approve it? People?
If there's any board discussion, that's fine. If not, just go ahead and vote.
Okay. All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, it's approved, Mr. McCann. So
Thank you all for your time. I know nighttime meetings are tough. Zoom makes them a little more tolerable with technical difficulties and all, but thank you for your time.
Ryan, do you have some experience with this in the past?
I do. Yeah, it was funny.
Okay.
I actually used to work for Upper Darby. I actually wrote a lot of that section that the last variance was about because the parking issues with daycares became such a nightmare.
I'm kidding, Ryan. I remember you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, I'm kidding.
Take care.
Have a good night, man.
Good luck.
You too. You as well. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Madam Secretary, up next, we have application 6-5 of 21, which is the application of Nakia Baker. I'll promote the panelist for a variance from Article 10, Section 550-39-C-2 to allow a front yard fence to exceed 4 feet in height. This is at 122 Harvin Road in Upper Darby. It's in our R3 residential district, and it sits in the 4th Council District. Hi, Ms. Baker. How are you? You gonna unmute?
Hello?
Sure. Hi, we can hear you. Do you have an attorney?
No, I do not.
That's fine. So, and then who's next to you?
This is my husband, Anthony Baker.
Okay, great. So let's do this. We'll mark as zoning hearing board exhibit 1, the application, zoning hearing board exhibit 2, the proof of publication, and zoning hearing board exhibit 3, the proof of posting. If the court reporter will swear both Ms. Baker in. And what's your husband's name?
Anthony Baker.
Anthony Baker. So if you would swear in Mr. and Mrs.
Sure.
Baker.
All right, good evening. Do you both swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Affirm, yes.
Affirm, I'm sorry. Affirm, fine. Thank you.
All right. So Mrs. Baker, what do you need from us?
So we come to the board today. I'm asking for a variance. I live at 122 Harvin Road. I'm on the corner property of Harvin Road and Parkview. I have a side front yard that extends all the way to the back. I did provide some pictures, some photos of the home. We're looking to erect a fence that will not obstruct traffic, whether you're coming to Parkview or you're coming down Harvin Road.
And real quick, we did receive those photos, and we'll mark the photos as a whole as applicants exhibit 1, the series of photos of
Okay.
to be admitted.
The hardship is I've owned this property for over 10 years. During this duration of time, I've had several issues of concern. One is a safety issue. I have at various times, I have children trying to play on the property. And at that time, I had very large oak trees. And as you know, the trees are very old and sometimes very large limbs do fall down. So I have asked several times that the kids stop playing on the property or coming on the property because I'm afraid that they will harm themselves. The trees have since been cut down with the exception of one, but that one doesn't really pose a problem. It's healthy. The other problem is I've had various strangers walk onto the property, steal items that I have outside. One being a washing machine at one time that I was going to put out for trash. There is we recently had someone approach the property with a knife. He definitely was on some type of substance. We're looking to enclose it, come up to, I think I put on the application up to the air conditioner, but my husband would like it to come up to the front of the lattice at the front of the house that the pictures show and reflect. There's no privacy. We have animals. The animals, just to keep our neighbors safe, they have to be chained or they're running off the property. We're running and chasing after them as well. The hardship is even just sitting outside and we're having lunch or dinner or any activities. We're sharing that with the entire community that's riding up. I mean, my house is very hard not to look at because as you approach the intersection, I'm right there. And it's like, all you can do is just look up at the property and see what everybody's doing.
Mr. Chas, are you
animals that also come and travel.
Can we see these photos on the screen, Mr. Chas, if you're? And again, these photos as a whole are applicants exhibit 1, and we've admitted to evidence. All right, so which is your house in these photos?
So this is my house, the White House.
Okay,
here.
Okay.
Right, and we're trying to go, that's the side view. So what we're trying to do is come right here where the white fence is. That's my neighbor that sits in the back of the home. We would go from the end of her fence coming down in an L-shaped pattern and coming around. If we was to go from the front of the house, it would give us 17 feet to stop at the grass. That sits on top of a hill, and the curb is 23 feet that is open. It wouldn't be blocked. So there's a stop sign there at Harvin Road in Parkview. So all that would be open.
Okay. And you want, how high do you want the fence to be?
The fence would be 6 by 8. I think the ordinance is for only a 4 foot.
And what's the hardship between 4 feet and 6 feet?
Privacy. Like I said, is you can look directly up into the property. I can't really enjoy that space. I have the largest, from my understanding, what people tell me, I have the largest lot on this side of Upper Darby. And I really can't use it.
Oh, you have the largest what, ma'am? I'm sorry.
Lot, the lot.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Any board members have any questions for the Bakers?
So you're sure that having the 6-foot-high fence wouldn't impede the view of drivers coming either on Parkview or was it Hardin?
Hardin, yes. No, it would not. There's so much space left from when the fence will stop to actually you come off the property. If just on the property alone gives you 17 feet before you even hit the sidewalk.
It's the edge of the grass.
It's the edge of the grass. Go ahead.
It's 17 foot from the stop of the fence to the edge of the grass. And it would be 23 feet from the stop of the fence to the curb.
Okay.
I've also asked about 6 neighbors in the surrounding areas, how do they feel about it? No one opposed it. They all supported. They thought it would be beautiful. They understood my plight. So.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, any other board members have questions?
I just have a question. I was going to ask the same one Peg did. And then if Josh was familiar with that corner an intersection to confirm.
Mr.
with this.
Cast, can you talk about the visibility of the intersection if there's a 6-foot fence?
But I can see from your sketch and your outline that it does appear that it would not impede visibility.
I was there today. I don't think it'd be an issue. It's pretty high up on the hill and decently set back. I wouldn't imagine it being an issue. So.
Right. Any other questions of the breakers? All right, is there any?
No, I don't have any other questions.
Good, great. Any members of the public wish to speak in opposition or support of Councilman Gwynn and Council President Wentz?
Good evening.
Hi, Mr. Councilman Gwynn.
I just have a basic question. The type of fence that you plan to have, is it going to be an open lattice top?
So right now we were looking for a semi-private. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, a lot of fences, the material is very scarce at this time. I was just emailed by the contractor last night. It would not have the lattice. It would just be the vinyl 6x8. The prices are extremely high. So I guess I did have a question. I would wonder how long do we have to erect it if it was approved, because the prices are very high. It kind of doubled the amount that we was initially.
You have 1 year from the time that you're granted zoning relief to pull the permits and start work on it. So you have some time.
Okay.
The other aspect or question, I apologize if you've already answered this, but the other fence that is appearing to be the background on your drawing, how high is it?
That's my neighbor's fence. It's 4. That's the variance. That's what you're allowed to put up.
Yeah, understood. And that's, I kind of thought it might be more beneficial to you to have the 4-foot high and an open lattice for the other 2 feet. That would still give you the privacy that you want and allow air to pass through.
Okay, you have a good point.
That's
You
all I
have a
wanted
good
to make.
point. So some of the fences that we have looked at, because my husband would like a semi-private, where I like a private fence. So there's still some discussion there. But so far, what I've seen is they're all 6 feet with the lattice. I have not seen one that was 4 feet with a lattice.
That's what he said. He said 4 foot, but with the extension, will make the 6 foot with the lattice at the top.
Okay.
But that would still require, wouldn't Mr. Chasta, variance? Is there some, or could you do a 4 foot with a very high lattice on top?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I mean, it sounds like we're still talking
We
about.
generally, we haven't dealt with that specifically. And Chris might, he's been through a few more of these, but I'd still consider that just 6 foot fence, even with the lattice, if it's going up 6 feet. I don't know, Chris, if you have any other thoughts on that, but that's how I would do it from a zoning perspective.
Okay, thanks. Council President Wentz, what's your public comment?
So I got echo. Sorry, hold on. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, I can't hear you guys anymore. But as long as you can hear me. So I live catty corner to the Bakers. They're great neighbors. They're very careful about making sure everyone can see. In fact, they had a bush on the corner that was growing pretty big that Kia moved so that people could see around the corner. And she put this beautiful little flower garden in instead. So I would definitely support them with this fence. I think it gives them a chance to have some privacy. They have not had any privacy in their yard this entire time. And they got two beautiful puppy dogs that are very loving and have come out to greet me on multiple occasions, and then I escort them back home. So I think having that fenced-in area would give them their space to be a family and not have to worry about puppies escaping and so forth, and then give them, you know, quality time without having to share it with the entire neighborhood. So
Thank you very much.
I'm going to mute myself again so I can hear it.
Sure. All right, so there's no further public comment. I think, Madam Secretary, the matter is ripe for a vote if you wish.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the application. Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Okay.
So, approved. Yeah, you have a
Thank you.
year. So hopefully those lumber
Good luck.
prices come down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fully approved, and you'll get written notice in the mail.
All right.
Thank
Have a
you.
great night.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, up next, we have application 6-6 of 21. This is the application of 824 North Lansdowne Avenue Associates LLC for a variance from section 550-37G3B to permit a freestanding sign of 86 square feet, where 40 square feet of sign is permitted, and section 550-37J to permit the increase in the square footage of a non-conforming freestanding sign from 50 square feet to 86 square feet. This is at 824, also known as 822 Lansdale Avenue in Upper Darby. This is our C2 traditional general commercial district in the 4th council district. The applicant is represented by council tonight, right, Mr. Fuscato?
Good evening, yes.
Hi. So, you know, you have exhibits as well. So just for the zoning hearing board exhibit will be the proof of publication. That'll be zoning hearing board exhibit 1. Zoning hearing board exhibit 2 will be the proof of posting, and the rest I'll allow to council. So council, take it away.
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Al Fiscaldo. I represent the applicant, 824 North Lansdowne Avenue Associates LLC. I have a couple of witnesses tonight. I don't know if the board would want to make them panelists as well now or wait until.
We'll make them panelists now, although I think, you know, maybe we'll do, you give us a summary of what this case is about and if there's any specific questions. So who are your witnesses?
So my witnesses are Daniel Sabadov.
Got it.
And Jeff Carson.
Okay.
And then also here, I believe, I can't see who's online, but on behalf of the equitable owner, the applicant, 824 North Lansdowne, either Aaron Rapucci, Gabe Clark, and or Josh Griever.
Aaron Rapucci is here.
Okay, that's great. So just by way of background, 824 North Lansdowne Avenue Associates is the equitable owner of the property. Mr. Sabadov is the prospective tenant of the property. They haven't entered into their lease yet. So the equitable owner has a standing tonight to bring this application. But Mr. Sabadov will be providing, and Mr. Carson will be providing the testimony for the signed application. But Ms. Yeah.
Well, I'll keep going. I was just saying, what do you need? What's the sign?
So this property is I don't know if Mr. Chast, do you want me to share my screen or?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I think it's better if you share your screen, that way you can control it.
I'll do my best.
We do have your exhibits. We got your exhibit packet, so.
Okay, I practiced this afternoon, so hopefully this works. Just give it a second. Okay, hopefully this loads up.
Okay. Yep, there you go.
Coming. If it works, I'm pretty proud of myself. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna page 34 of the application, and which is an aerial. So let me get there. And And hold on one second, please. Okay, so all right, so this is an application for a the enlargement of a existing non-conforming freestanding sign on the property. The property is located next to Casey's Saloon. It's indicated by the red marker there on the plan, next to Casey's, and then between Rite Aid and the CVS. The property was a former M&T bank, which you see right here, and the freestanding sign is on the left side of the page. That's the existing non-conforming sign. It's non-conforming because it's larger than the code permits now. Right now, because the property is 80 feet wide, the sign is permitted to be 40 square feet. That existing sign is 50 square feet. And if you can see the box below the M&T sign, that held additional signage in the past. So we believe that sign was at one point in time 70 square feet in size. What we're asking for is a variance to permit 86 square feet of signage on that freestanding sign, rather than the 40 that's permitted and the 50 that's there. And also a variance to increase the existing nonconformity, which is required by your code. The sign will have, let me go through this a little more. This is a plot plan of the property. And you can see the existing building is set back significantly from Lansdowne Avenue. And frankly, it's sort of hidden as you go up and down Lansdowne Avenue. And this is a rendering of the proposed sign on the property. Also shown here is although it's not part of the application for a variance, I thought the board would be interested in seeing the rest of the proposed signage for the property, which is this wall signage, which all will conform with the requirements of the zoning code, but just to get the full picture. So the sign will be 24 feet high, which is below the maximum height of 35 feet as permitted in the district. The existing sign will not, the existing sign does not have a landscape island that's non-conforming as to that condition. And we're proposing also to not have a landscape island at this sign also because, as you can see from the site plan, the site is very tight, it's narrow. The circulation goes in a counterclockwise manner from the right side to the left, parking in the front and the rear. To move the sign, which is in the bottom left-hand corner of the property, to move the sign elsewhere in the property would impede on that egress, and to put in the planting island would also impede on that egress and create a dangerous condition on the property. The sign is also non-conforming in that it is within 10 feet of the right-of-way. It actually encroaches by 1 foot into the right-of-way. We're proposing to relocate the sign back a foot so that it no longer encroaches over the property line. But so that is a pre-existing non-conforming condition, and we would continue that condition again because the site is so tight. I can present Mr. Savadov to talk more about the AFC urgent care use, which he's proposing at this location. Mr. Savadov is the Delaware County franchisee of American Family Care Urgent Centers. He has several other locations in the area. AFC has 260 sites throughout the country and is a premier urgent care provider. Dan can talk about the use, which is permitted in the district if the board would like. We also have Mr. Carson here who could talk about how this sign, which is proposed, is consistent with the character of the other signs in the neighborhood, and frankly is a little bit smaller than a lot of the ones that currently exist in the vicinity, including the Rite Aid sign, which is 196 square feet, the Planet Fitness sign, which is directly behind, or Planet Fitness is directly behind this property, but that sign is 100 square feet. the CVS is 120 square feet, which is just up the block. So this sign is 86 square feet, and it is consistent in size with the Casey's restaurant sign next door, which is 80 square feet. So it's we've designed something that's in keeping with the character of the neighborhood, but also provides the necessary visibility for the site and creates a safe traffic condition because the site is significantly set back, with the building set back from the street, as you can see by this photo. As you're going westbound on Lansdowne Avenue, the building, you actually can't even see it. You would turn left after the Casey's sign, and the black sign standard right there is where the proposed sign would be. Here is the proposed sign as you go westbound along Lansdowne Avenue, and then again eastbound on Lansdowne Avenue, again consistent with the neighborhood. I'm happy to put on Mr. Savadov and/or Mr. Carson to talk in greater depth about any of the issues. And I can have them adopt my testimony as theirs.
Sure. What's the hardship? Talk about
The hardship is, what's the dimensional variance to begin with. And the hardship is that we believe that the existing signage doesn't allow drivers traversing Lansdowne Avenue to safely locate the AFC or the building on the property because it is significantly set back from the street. As you can see from the prior photograph, it's almost invisible. And so we believe that signage consistent with the neighborhood signage is necessary for people to safely locate this property, especially in a time of, if they're seeking medical care, it's even more important.
So let me ask the board members, do you need to hear any specific testimony from the witnesses?
I'm familiar with the area, so I understand where this is coming from.
Ms. Woodard, do you need any?
No, I agree. I concur.
Mr. Heyman, do you need any additional testimony? So
No.
It was a technical matter, Mr. Fiscato. Why don't we have those two witnesses sweared in and just confirm that their testimony would be the same?
Thank you. Mr. Savino?
Gentlemen.
Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah. Do you both swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes.
Okay, both are okay, great, thank you.
Mr. Savino, you heard my summary of the application before the board?
Yes, I did.
And was it true and accurate? And do you accept that testimony as your own?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Carson?
Yes, sir.
Were you present for the summary of the application that I presented to the board?
Yes, sir, I was.
Was it true and accurate? And do you accept and adopt my testimony as your own?
Yes, I would.
All right. Thank you for your presentation. Let me see here. Any members of the public wish to speak in support or in opposition to this application? All right. Councilwoman President Wentz would like to speak, as would Councilman Gwynn. Let's see.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Your comment.
I just wanted to thank you for bringing urgent care to our community. It's something that is greatly needed in our community. And I did speak with, I think, Mr. Salvador early 6 months ago or so when he was first talking about this. So I think it's great. I do like the way the sign is pushed back, but make sure that you can see the other signs on the street so that other businesses are not, their signs are not blocked. So thank you very much for taking that care on the positioning of your sign. So yeah, hope it all works out. Love to have, looking forward to having you in our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President Wentz. Councilman Gwynn, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I just, two things. One, I was interested to find out what was happening with what appears to be a TV screen or advertising screen underneath. Is that constantly changing? What is it? What message is being used there?
Yeah, you want? I could have Jeff Carson address that question for you.
So, Al, I probably would, I don't think Jeff knows the actual messaging.
Okay.
So I think I'd rather answer that. Great question. First of all, it's not constantly moving. It'll be static for the required 5 seconds, and that's how we believe we would do it anyway. And the messaging is very fundamental and educational to kind of allow the community to understand the breadth and scope of what we do and what we are. We're somewhere between an emergency room and a primary care office. And so we would literally have messages like no appointments needed, board certified physicians on duty at all times, open 7 days a week, treating illness and injury and treating people of all ages, infants through elderly. So very educational messages about what we do.
Okay. And is it a bright field, or what is your plan there?
So it's that's probably a better Jeff Carson, who's the sign guy, is probably better situated to do that, to answer that. I'll generally say no. We have the same sign in Aston, and it works out great for the community. But let Jeff answer that question.
I'm sorry. What was that word? Bite. The word, some kind of field. Bite.
Bright.
Right. Oh, bright. I'm sorry. Bright. Yes. That's the word. Sorry. Thank you.
The electronic message board is produced domestically here in the United States by a company that's called Watchfire. The electronic message board has a photo eye that's incorporated onto the board. So during the daylight hours, it runs at a higher output than it does at night. At night, it actually drops down to only 10% of what it portrays during the day because it doesn't have to compete with the sun. And so that photo eye is constantly adjusting the brightness of the sign throughout the course of the day. If you had a winter day that is overcast and snowy, then it's a little bit brighter, but or excuse me, a little bit less bright. I apologize. But on the days that are like today, where you have not too many clouds in the sky, then it runs closer to what's known as about 7,000 nits or lumens, and at night it drops down to about 700. So it automatically adjusts itself to make sure that it does not cause any traffic hazards, and it really isn't much different than what exists right down the line on North Lansdowne Avenue between Casey's, moving down towards CVS, and then even towards Dairy Queen.
Is the top part of the sign solid color, where we see the white with the urgent care, family care?
Yes, sir, that's correct. It's an impact resistant Lexan lens. It is translucent, so it does have LED lights that are behind it, but it will be, again, very much consistent with what exists down the line between Planet Fitness, CVS, Dunkin' Donuts. The Lexan lens is impact resistant and accepts a translucent vinyl copy. That message will always remain constantly the same.
I'm sorry, what kind of lens was that? What was that phrase you used? Some kind of lens. What was
translucent.
Translucent. It allows the light to pass through it.
Right, I understand. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your information. When you first posed the size of that sign, it conjured up a fear in my mind that we may have a sign war. You get your sign up and the next guy has to get a little bit bigger sign or a little bit brighter sign. I think that that's one concern that I have, to try not to keep distracted drivers. But I do think that you are presenting a good plan, and it is a good idea and a welcome activity that we need for this area. It'll maybe take some of the burden off of the emergency room at the Delaware County Hospital.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Gwynn. Doesn't seem like there's any other public comment. Madam Secretary, I think this application is ripe for decision unless the board members have any other further questions or deliberation.
Well, speaking as someone who had to drive herself to the urgent care with a broken foot, I think it's a great idea to make the sign easy to find. So I recommend that we approve this application. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Thank
So
you very
it's
much.
approved. You'll get written notice. Appreciate the distinct presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a good remainder.
So,
Great. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Madam Secretary, our final application tonight is application 67 of 21. The application of AG Auto Repair for a special exception under section 550-8 to allow automobile sales of previously owned vehicles. It's situated at 1 South Church Lane in Fernwood. This is the C4 Commercial Industrial District and the 7th Council District. There's the applicant here. I think this is Mr. Singh. He was here. Oh, yes. Let's see.
Yeah, I believe he's listed as yes.
Okay, great. Well, there you go. Mr. Singh. Oh, great. Can you unmute yourself? Hi, Mr. Singh. All right, and you are Davinder Singh or Amalak Singh? Okay, and who's with you in the room there?
My partner,
What's his name?
Dana Goodman.
Dana Goodman.
Okay, so let's.
Daniel Goodman, was it?
Yeah, let's.
Good man.
Great. So let's make zoning hearing board exhibit. Well, you don't have an attorney, correct?
No.
It's fine. Zoning hearing board exhibit 1 is the application. Zoning hearing board exhibit 2 is the proof of publication, and zoning hearing board exhibit 3 is the proof of posting. Let's swear in both witnesses. If the other witness could come into the screen so we could see you. Thank you. All right,
Gentlemen, you swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Affirm.
Yes. Affirm, that's fine. Thank you.
All right. So what do you need from the zoning hearing board?
Well, we need permission. Yeah, I should think you have to talk.
He can explain it better. You know, my English now like too
That's
much.
fine. You're both. That's perfectly fine. So go ahead.
We're asking for permission to sell cars on the lot. State requirement is at least 5 cars, and we're looking to have at least 7 to 10 cars in the space for sale.
So you currently repair cars at this location, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Is your intent to continue to repair cars?
Yes.
Okay. And I mean, how many parking spaces do you have now?
We actually have at least 30 parking spaces on the lot.
Okay. So you have 30 parking spaces. How many cars do you have that need to be repaired on your property right now?
4 to 5 cars at the moment.
Okay. Where do you usually keep all your cars parked on your lot?
That's correct.
Okay. Mr. Chester, are you familiar with this location?
Yeah, we've been down there a few times dealing with for different various code violations related to parking in the street and painting. Although there wasn't any painting found, that was simply just an accusation.
Wasn't any what found?
There was no car painting found on the premises.
Pacing?
Which was the report that we received. but the violation ended up being just cars in the street that were on past expiration.
What was past expiration? Their registration?
Yes, their inspection, sorry,
Okay.
was
So-
passed.
So gentlemen, why were you parking cars in the street if you have 30 spots on your
Can I
property?
say, those cars no belong to me, you know, but the guy I have across from the street, he keep calling me, you know.
I'm sorry.
Well,
I-
actually,
I'm not-
what he's saying is, if I may interrupt.
Sure.
He's saying that the cars that was on the street when the inspector came did not belong to us. It belonged to a garage that's adjacent from us. He puts his cars on the street because he doesn't have a lot as huge, as large as we do.
Mr. Chess, what do you, I mean, was that what you found or what?
I mean, there's no, yeah, I mean, we weren't able to, all we were concerned with was getting the cars off the street. But we couldn't really, identify one way or the other which neighbor. They said that it was theirs, the other neighbor said it was theirs.
So how did you find them both? Who eventually took the cars off the street?
I believe we towed them.
Oh, okay. And where are they now?
That I do not know at this time. I know Chris, but they go through our normal systems when we do this.
Sure. Are there in fact 30 parking places at this location?
Yes.
No, I'm sorry, I'm asking Mr. Cast.
There could be. There is a decent amount of parking, although a lot of it is used as, to repair cars, which is their business.
Sure. Are you going to make any changes to your property to sell cars or what?
Yes, we're going to have a section just for the cars, for state requirement, at least 5. We like to have at least 10 cars, 7 to 10 cars section for the sales of the vehicles, which state requirement is at least 5.
Do you intend to park any of these cars on the street?
No.
No,
not at all. No.
All right, board members, what are your questions for the applicant?
Josh, is this a no parking area?
What do you mean by no parking?
Okay,
I mean, it's public street parking.
Okay, so if they have, you're still going to be repairing cars, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you're going to have cars for sale and you're going to have people coming to look at the cars. So where will they park while they're looking at the cars?
The lot is large enough that they could come drive their vehicles onto the lot and park and come in and view whatever vehicles they want to see.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't have anything else.
Ms. Woodard, do you have anything else?
So is there at any given time when the lot is full, be it you doing repairs or future car sales while people are coming in to look at cars for sale or coming in to talk about the repair of their car? Is the lot ever full to capacity?
No, ma'am.
No.
Never, since you've owned it.
Never since we've been here. Never.
Okay. And how long have you owned it? I'm sorry.
Well, we've been here
almost like two years now.
Like 2 years now.
2.5
Years.
months.
Yes.
Okay.
And we plan to as well. Once they have an entrance on the Church Lane side, we have an entrance there as well, and an entrance on the what's the name of the street over here?
William
the William Street, and it's more safer if they come in through the William Street entrance, because the Church Lane is high volume traffic. And
Yeah.
we always, and officers always, when they have an accident on that corner in that intersection, we always assist the officers with, directing the traffic.
And isn't that also a bus stop? I come home from work that way over the bridge, and so
Yes,
I'm sure this is prior to your ownership, but it was always congested with cars and fencing, and it was just a lot going on there. I couldn't tell what was going on. So if there were interest on Church Lane side, that would not be conducive.
No, we would.
Safety flow. Okay.
We do not have an interest on that side
Okay.
for those particular reasons.
All right.
That's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Heyman, do you have any questions for the applicant?
I do not.
Okay.
Can I just ask Josh, do you foresee any problems with this?
I foresee, I would argue with their assessment that their lot isn't full. I was there today. It's full. I would barely be able to get into the lot. So I would argue with their assessment of that. I would also be worried that they didn't reduce the amount of cars that they're repairing and really clear up some of the lot for this use. I do foresee issues, and I worry about parking on the street, and I worry about space and clutter, as well as painting of new cars or of used cars. Those are my concerns from our code enforcement perspective.
So did they say earlier that they only had like 10 cars there now?
I'm not sure. How many cars do you? I'm not sure. Can you ask? I don't.
Sure. How many cars on your lot?
Today we have about, for repairs, at least 10 cars for repairs.
And Josh, you think it's a lot more than that, right?
I wouldn't even hesitate to say yes.
How many?
What are the other cars? Storage.
Mr. Josh, how many cars did you see there when you went down there today?
I do not have a count, but it was definitely more than 10.
Like 20, like 25, like 15?
Well, the capacity is at least close to 30.
All right, well, hold on. Mr. Chasto thought it was incredibly tight, packed.
It was packed. But I couldn't give a number. But over 10 for sure.
My concern is that you said there were 10 cars there.
Right, it sounds like there's more.
And there are more than that. And when you said there were 10 cars there, you were under oath. So kind of makes me wonder about the rest of your testimony.
All right, let's see if there's any public comment. I see.
They just came in earlier,
Was it what?
Those cars just came in like with the tow truck this morning. Like we have the camera and everything. Just bought some car from auction. They dropped it here.
Councilman Gwynn, go ahead.
Hi, I had driven by there many times and have seen the lots pretty well full. May have been prior to your ownership. I don't remember the exact dates as to when you said you took over, but I have seen that lot pretty well full. And I do have a question. Did you say that you do not do any painting on your facility? If a car comes in that's damaged, you're going to repair it, but are you going to paint it?
No, we do not.
You will not be painting it. So
No, just give the car to the people so they can paint.
okay, where are your curb cuts going to be to get these vehicles on? Is it just off of Baltimore Pike?
Say it again. I'm sorry.
Where's your curb cut Is it on Baltimore Pike to enter your lot?
No, it's on Williams, on the smaller street. That's the main entrance there. We'd have nothing on Baltimore Pike, which is
Or the Church Lane.
or the Church Lane.
So those, and where the, Josh had questions about parked cars that were being repaired, and you said they were not your vehicles, they were somebody else's vehicles. Are you sharing lots with any other firm or any other people to do work?
No.
No.
And that's what I said, 10 cars. I meant 10 cars to be for repairs, not capacity. I'm sorry if you misunderstood what I was saying.
And is it 10
cars for repairs came
for repair?
In.
Are
Yes.
you trying to sell any other repaired cars there?
No.
Is it?
If you have 10 cars there for repair, what are the other 20 cars doing?
We have those cars that come in that we have brought. Those are personally owned cars.
Who owns them?
We own the cars.
Are you the registered drivers of those cars? Or it's the case that you have them titled to you temporarily to time you
Yes.
sell them?
They have the temporary title to us.
Sorry?
No, those cars are bought from the parking authority, Philadelphia Parking Authority. PPA.
What do you mean by that? Do you have a contract with them to fix their cars or what?
No, the car I have in the lot, like extra car, they say I actually own it because I buy them from the PPA, like parking authority.
So are you already selling cars from this lot?
No, what he's saying is 10 cars came in for repairs. The other cars are owned personally by him. And he buys cars from the Philadelphia Parking Authority and other institutions.
To use as a parts car.
So these cars are sitting there, you buy the cars, they sit there until what?
Until, if I use it for like engine or transmission.
They're cannibalized.
Once the car is used for what its purpose is for that particular time, then we take and junk it.
What is your frequency of removal of these carcasses of cars that aren't going to be used? What's your turnaround time?
At least we can get rid of those cars. What would you say? Once a week we get rid of them?
So you'll have, if this is granted, you'll be doing car sales, car repair, kind of like what do they call scrap yards on Passyunk? You'll have cars for parts. And and cars being towed into your space, it just seems like a lot of stuff going on in that little space, because if you go into an aerial view right now, that lot is full. Every time I come by there, that lot is full. I never knew what went on. I actually thought it was car sales. I didn't know it was repairs and all these other things. So how would a tow truck get in there? My car breaks down, they put me up on a flatbed, tow my car in there. If your lot is full, how does a tow that get in there to drop the car?
It comes to Williams Avenue.
But if it's full, how does it get in? I'm trying to understand.
Well, basically, we never actually full to the capacity. We always leave enough room. If a tow truck has to bring something in, they can get in, or if a customer has to drive in, they can get in. And also, we're bonded by the state for inspections, so we have to have access to the public to come into into the property. But the state was here the other day for inspections, and we passed. We've been bonded by the state for a year and a half now for state inspections. And our QAO came out the other day and said, you know, we're doing a great job. He came in and asked, you know, they said he talked to a couple of people. They say we was courteous to them and we respected their cars, put the brakes on. They didn't have no problem. We had a waiting room for them. So I'm saying, in this day and time now, I really believe that this particular, what we're doing will be a service to the community. And that the community could be able to, we'll be able to, you know, if you're granting us these licenses, we'll be able to service the community with, you know, cars that's affordable for the community.
Council President Wentz, did you have public comment? I see your hand up.
Yes, I was just curious how many employees there are that work at this repair shop. Trying to get a sense of the number of people that park their vehicles on this property. So I was just curious how many employees there are on a regular basis.
2.
So you only have 2 mechanics that work on repairing the cars and scrapping the other cars?
Two repair guy and third me, because I do too.
Gotcha.
2
Okay.
plus you.
2 plus him. Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President Wentz. All right, there's no further public comments. Madam Secretary, would you like to make a motion or need more information or discussion?
I mean, I think I agree with Deborah that this just seems like an awful lot of stuff going on in one space. And my motion would be to deny the variance.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so your application has been denied. You will receive written notice and a detailed written explanation. You may appeal the zoning hearing board's decision within 30 days of receipt to the Delaware County Court of Common Pleas.
Good, thank you.
All right, thank you
Okay.
very much.
All right. So
All right. That concludes our meeting tonight, Madam Secretary. Like I said before, it is unlikely that we will meet in July. And so I believe our next meeting will be on August 26th. And I believe
possibly in person.
possibly in person.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All approving, say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, well,
Good
good night,
summer.
everybody.
Have a great night, everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Looking forward to seeing you in person.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to see you at Pride Fest Sunday. Bye.
I'm going to be away, Peggy. I won't see you there.
Oh, really? That's a
Yeah.
shame. I want to talk to you because my son, he lives in Maryland.